It's been a while since our Zelda U analysis, but in that time you guys have left over 3,000 comments telling us your opinions on the game, as well as your own theories on many of the secrets and hidden details. So we've decided to give the old analysis machine a break and instead highlight the things we missed and many of the ideas that you guys had. But be sure to watch our previous analysis, as we'll be referring back to it quite often. With all that said, let's get to it. Now, the one thing we missed that we got absolutely hammered on was the fact that Link does indeed have a sword. It's just not immediately obvious. But many of you noticed that as Link reached for his special arrow, a sword could be seen beneath. It doesn't look to be special in any way, lending further credence that this is toward the beginning of the game. The placement of this sword and how Link uses his bow actually created its own kind of debate, namely whether this Link will be left-handed or right-handed. Daryl Jones noted that the way Link holds his bow makes him look right-handed, which could be an indication that motion controls are back for this game. After all, every time motion controls are implemented, Link is no longer left-handed, but this might not be the case. Takuri Hamare seems to have some archery experience, as he has seen archers hold the bow with either hand. It's actually more dependent on your dominant eye, and this Link seems to be playing with expectations as well. This is the first time that a 3D Link has held the bow with his left hand and released the arrow with his right. That is, except for the Wii version of Twilight Princess, where the entire game was mirrored. Though when Skyward Sword was made from the ground up with motion controls in mind, his bow stance returned to normal. Either way, Voice Bros and many others think this is our first look at the game's hero's bow. Then there's Shu Ryusai, who tried to solve the riddle of Link's dominant hand by looking at the placement of the belt around his chest and the arm guard on his right hand. Both would suggest a dominant right hand, but we can't help but think that the placement of his sword might be the biggest clue of all. Before reaching for his bow, it was placed on the left side of his horse, and of course he uses his left hand to hold it. Since the sword is on the right side of the horse, he might grab it with his right hand, just as he does with the special arrow. So we very well could be looking at another right-handed Link. Unfortunately, it's impossible to say conclusively whether motion controls will actually be involved or not. And speaking of Link's horse, FMA64 was among the people pointing out that it might not be Epona. In all of her appearances, she's had a reddish or brown coat with a white mane. This horse has a black mane. Could Epona not actually appear in this game? Or is it possible that Link will obtain multiple horses, each one gradually getting better throughout the game? Moving on, you guys were even looking at clues to Link's origins in his clothing. For example, Alec Lafrasia and many others pointed out that the bracers on Link's arms actually contain the patterns of the Gerudo. Could this mean that there's some kind of connection there? Or is there something else going on? And many people also pointed out that Link's blue shirt is reminiscent of his civilian clothes in Wind Waker. We noticed this ourselves, but disregarded it since the design is completely different. The only thing connecting them is the color. However, this could be a civilian Link with many callbacks to previous games. One of which that was up for debate was the cloak Link was wearing. RandomTuber12 thought it resembled Impa's cloak in Skyward Sword, except that the symbol is mirrored vertically. Clemmerlin agreed with that idea, but also thought it looked like the cloak Ganondorf wore in Wind Waker, which would actually further increase the ties this Link has with both the Gerudo and Wind Waker. But Bloody B. O'Sullivan has a completely different idea. He thinks that it resembles the cloak Midna wore when she was restored to her true form. It says a lot about the series that one cloak could contain so many possible references. Beyond Link himself, there were several theories and observations about the monster that Link fights in this trailer. True Koala Knight thinks that the monster is some kind of variation on the Beamos, except much more powerful. He also believes that it's been lying dormant for some time, as he notes that it's grass growing on top of him, not moss. And the legs may indeed be its weak point, as Crown Clown and many others highlighted the fact that one of its legs are missing. Finally, Timeless Gamer believes that this monster may work like the monsters in Ocarina of Time's Hyrule Field. Even there, they rested in the ground until something nearby approached. But this monster seems to have gone out of its way to attack the village, so maybe those types of monsters rove the land more than before. There are also a few common comments on Hyrule itself. For one, Super Creator's channel points out that there's a cave entrance near the unique tree in the village. He wonders if it could be something like the caves in Faron Woods, or maybe even a dungeon. After all, there is a precedent of early dungeons taking place in and around trees. The most common idea, though, is that this Hyrule is actually New Hyrule from Spirit Tracks. Minty notes that the location of the volcano is remarkably similar. In that game, the volcano was in the northeastern part of the map, with a large desert lying between it and the ocean. While the ocean can't be seen, it does have the volcano and desert near each other, something that other Hyrules don't have. And while there are many more theories and ideas, these were the most common. Of course, there could always be more to Zelda U, so if we still missed anything, let us know in the comments. If you liked this video, be sure to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at GameXplain to keep up with everything we do. Thanks for watching, and make sure to stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Zelda and other things gaming too.